We're live. We got Top Cut regional results. It's pretty much just the Numemon show at this point. Nothing super interesting, to be honest with you guys. We'll load up some of the deck lists real quick. So this is first place, Numemon. Very, very standard. I feel like pretty much I looked through all the Numemon lists. There was only one that was like significantly different, but not even by that much. He just had like a cool tech. The rest of them are pretty much just Huang's first place list from the last regionals with like 1-2 cards difference. So here, for example, it's the same exact list except he cut a Louis for a Digimon Emperor, and he cut a couple rookies, I think, actually. So it's 3 Chikurimon instead of 2, and then instead of the 3 Chumon, he's playing an Agumon, and then he put in a Garymon, which is a cool tech. I've seen it before. It's on play on deletion or when digivolving. Let's look it up real quick. Digimon card.dev. On play on deletion, yeah. Trash 1 card with Numemon or Sukumon in its name in your hand. One of your opponent's Digimon gets security -1 until the end of their turn. So you can throw this onto their Magna X, prevent them from attacking. But apparently Magna X, not even a threat. I mean, only... God, it's so little number, actually. V-Armor, Vax Armor, Vax Armor. 3 in the top 16 of Magna X decks. So, I mean, what is this card really doing? I guess in the mirror match, it helps, like, kind of stop them from attacking. Or something I've seen is that because the inheritable is when attacking, when your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1, you can put this under Venusmon, and then your Venusmon can kind of self-proc itself every time it attacks. So it's pretty cool. This is a cool tech. I've seen it before. I think it's just a 1-of for sure. So yeah, other than that, this guy's list super standard. Not much to say. It's just Numemon at this point, right? All the other Numemon lists basically the same. We won't go over them, so we'll just talk about the first place one just because they got first place. The next topping list. So Numemon was the top 4. All 4 top decks for Numemon, which is crazy. 5th place, Imperial Dramon. I've been talking with Bryce, and Bryce says that this is the 3rd best deck in the meta, and I'm kind of inclined to agree. So here it is a fairly standard Imperial list, especially from the bottom end. So you have your promo Vmons, your 8 end of turn DNA rookies, and then you have the new BT16 Wormmon. I think this is a very good 1 or 2 of in the deck, because when you play it off the Davis Ken, you can basically bring back the piece that you're missing from your trash, which is very helpful in a lot of situations in such a piece reliant deck. The level 4 lineup is pretty standard: 6 XVs, 6 Stingmons, and then he put in 2 Lydramons, which is interesting. So he's really maxing out on the level 4s. Lydramon especially helps you kill Floodgate rookies like Pomon and Pillowmon that you can't play by effects, which really slows down your deck, since kind of that's your main engine with the new Davis Ken, is playing your rookies by effect and then getting the DNA off that way. 7 Paildramons. Oh no, sorry, it's 6 Paildramons and 1 Dino Bee. I think the Dino Bee is cool. I think Dino Bee does come up, so I do like to see that card. 6 of the new Imperials, so 3 BT16 Dragon Mode and 3 Fighter Mode Ace. We have 1 of the BT12 Fighter Mode, which you play that off the BT16 Dragon Mode effect, and then you can suspend everything with 1 or less sources, and then bot deck, I believe is what it does. So it's just another cool battle trick you can do off the BT16 Dragon Mode. Let me make sure that's the effect, because I forget exactly what it does, but it is annoying, and you do have to think about it. Fighter Mode: suspend all your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards, then return 1 of your opponent's suspended Digimon to its owner's hand. By returning 1 Imperial Digimon Dragon Mode from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to its owner's hand, place all your opponent's suspended Digimon at the bottom of their owner's deck instead. So, no Digivolution cards. Okay. So, it's a little worse than I thought it was. I thought it was 1 or less, but it's still good. And also it has a secondary ability alterns, plus 1000 for each color. While it has 2 or more colors and evolution cards against your carry attack +1 and blocker. So you can get to like 15, 16 if you're running, if you have like the purple Wormmon or the red Vmon underneath it. So, and then you gain blocker, which makes you pretty big. Big blocker is of course very good in this format. So I think this is a good one of at the most. Some people are saying this is more of like a win more card, but it could go either way. Honestly, I'm not mad at people playing this card. 4 Davis Ken, 1 Davis. That seems pretty standard. And then the options. This is a little less standard from what I've been seeing. I've been seeing people index more into like Giga Death, which is like a very good ace punish. It helps you against like your worst matchup, which is probably Tyrant. I think if you're going against Tyrant without Giga Death, the matchup gets significantly harder. But I guess this guy just made it through by probably just not running into Tyrant because there was only 1 in top 32. So yeah. Hammer Spark, 1 Megadeth, 1 HPD. I actually don't think HPD is that good in this deck anymore, especially without the starter deck Imperial. You kind of miss out like the Exodia high roll with like starter deck Imperial, and then make the second Paildramon with the cards you spit out. And also, you don't want to really run starter deck Imperial anymore anyways, because it messes up your partition from the BT16 Paildramon. So that's a tough sell for me. I guess HPD, you can still kind of get a free dragon mode off or something. I don't know. It doesn't seem that good to me. I think HPD kind of not so good in this deck anymore, but I mean, it's still like just a high roll card, so maybe it does come up in such situations. I don't know, but this guy got 5th place with it, so who am I to judge him, right? The highest topping Vmon armor list. Again, pretty standard list. I think I like this guy's list because it's very just straightforward. Something I noticed with a lot of the Vmon armor lists is that they get too bogged down into the options, like Zubigon Punch, Heaven's Judgment, Fire Rocket, Trident Arm, Heaven's Judgment. Like they start running like so many options that it almost feels like they're sacrificing their consistency, and they draw these weird hands that's like 3 options, like Magnamon, no Vmon. Like it gets super awkward. This guy's playing 4 boosts, which I thought is interesting that he's not running any trainings, but I mean, I guess like sure, like Mem Boost is cool. And another thing about Mem Boost is that if you're expecting Imperial as like the 3rd most popular deck, then Dragon Mode kind of wrecks you if you only have training out. So Mem Boost helps you get around that, which is pretty cool. And I guess you can't really combo Mem Boost with Golden Knight. So, or sorry, you can't combo training with Golden Knight, right? So that helps you get that play off a little bit easier. So I like this list. 2 Death X. Very, very straightforward list. I like it. It's simple to the point. 4 jamming Vmon. Like, yeah. Good list. Solid list. The highest topping vaccine armor. Very, very standard list in my opinion as well. 2 Rapids, 4 Magna X, 2 Death X, 2 Ruin Mode. So this guy really indexed into like the super top end level 7s. I guess it paid off for him. I don't know how you don't brick like that, but I mean, I guess like I said, like at a tournament like this where like Numemon is the best deck, you kind of have to high roll them a little bit. So just building for the high roll and just to always have the Death X and Ruin Mode to kind of like come back or like stop them from coming back on you, I think is very good. You have your 8 Rapids. 8 Rapids, the 1 Gold Veedramon, which you kind of have to play, even though I think this card sucks. 7 TKs, that's standard. 3 Trainings, 3 Emissary, 4 Patas, 3 Kudamons, 3 Uko, 1 Promo Pata, 4 Awakening. This guy's not playing around with his Awakenings. All right, 4 Awakening of the Golden Knight, just to make sure he always has it to always go into Magna X. I get it. And then 1 Megalos Spark. I forget what this card does. BT11, when you would use this card if you have a Yellow Tamer, reduce the cost by 1. Okay, so it costs 4. Main, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 8,000 DP until the end of their turn. Oh, that's good, so it lingers. Okay. This seems good in the mirror, actually, because you just minus 8,000 on their Magna. It's hard for them to swing over your Magna then. This is a spicy tech, dude. I actually... Okay. Megalos Spark. Alright, I see it. I see the vision. That's cool. Just a 1 of. I get it. Okay, sure, that's cool tech. Next we have Machine Dramon. This is something that I personally didn't expect, but this guy's list, he cooked. So basically he did the if you're playing a tier 2 deck, just put 8 Ukos in it meme. So he followed up on that. He just slammed in the 8 Ukos. I guess it's a 7 Ukos, but whatever. And then he's playing Purple Engine. So the Demi-Mera from BT15, it's on deletion by trashing one level 5 or higher card in your hand, draw 2 cards. So that like super speeds you up, obviously. Like he's playing like every level 5. His bottom end is only 7 Ukos and 4 Hagurumons. He's not playing any level 4s. There's no Hover SB, no Cannon Dramon or whatever, a Guard Dramon, no level 4s, no Numemon. Just pure bottom end, swing in with the Ukos, have them die, trash your level 5s, turbo into. He's playing a lot of the old EX1 Machine Dramon that cannot be DP reduced. So that's a huge tech versus Numemon, where that's like their main removal. Clearly he built his deck to beat Numemon, and it worked out for him because he got top 16. So yeah, that's a cool list right here. I think if you're gonna play Machine, it probably has to be a build like this. I don't think the old Machine build works anymore for this meta. Okay, more Numemon. Then we have the Mirage. This is a pretty standard Mirage list. Something I noticed that the Mirage guys are doing now is only 6? I've seen some people play 5. Actually, I was going to say I've seen Mirage players got into 5 Tamers, but this guy's still playing the 6. 2 training, 3 mem boosts. I think we're normally seeing 4 trainings, but again, I think that might be a symptom of Imperial being so popular and Dragon Mode just completely turning off trainings. So you don't want to get stuck with only trainings against Imperial. So I think cutting down the trainings and increasing the mem boost count, I think is pretty good. Rookies, only 1 Gomamon. That's a little interesting to me because I feel like Gomamon can't be blocked. Is super good against Magna. So I don't know. He made it work. Gaomons, Betamons, more jamming. The new Gaomon 3 of, that seems good. Lilanemon, the rest of the list seems super standard, right? 3 Zudos, your 3 burst modes, 4 Mirages. This is a very, very standard list. Ice Wall, Full Moon Meteor Impact. I mean, it is what it is. Notably no Hammer Spark. I've seen Mirage players go Hammer Spark route, but this guy said, nah, I'm just playing Mem Boost instead, which I get it. Moving on. The next coolest deck I saw. So this is another Numemon list, but he was running 2 Protoforms and 1 Rapid X. So the cheese is like you get Protoform in under like one of your yellow level 5s and then Digivolve into Rapid X, and then that gives you pretty good advantage in the mirror. I feel like just like the cheese Rapid X out of nowhere, since you need X antibody or Rapidmon in your sources to get the minus 4k effect off. So it works with Protoform. Pretty cool. Other than that, very, very standard list. Like I said, this is basically card for card Huang Zero top first place list from the last regionals. Every single Numemon list is almost like card for card. This guy, he dropped on the Ukos, and I assume that's just to like increase his tech count. We see the Jerrymon here again, the security minus 1/1. Yep, standard stuff. The Rapid is cool. I wanted to point it out. Tyrant, the only Tyrant in top 16, coming in with what I think is like the standard Tyrant list. This is very close to the list that me and my buddies kind of ended up workshopping into. This is very like, if you want to play Tyrant, you kind of have to play it this way, which is 4 Tentos, 4 Kokabus, very standard. And then you have your 2 Pomus and Lotmon to round out your level 3s. I personally want to go more Pomus. I think players can't play Digimon by effects. While it does hurt you as a Tyrant player, it also is like one of the only cards that helps you like slow them down enough to your level so that you can fight. So I think Pomon is a must, and the 2 Digimon Emperor is also a must. I think every Tyrant list needs to be playing at least 2 Digimon Emperor. You have to be able to slow these other decks down to your level, especially Numemon. Otherwise, you're just going to get rolled. Level 4s, he has the Floor Blade Kuwaga, which is standard, and then he is going into the Piercing package, so 3 Kuwaga X and 3 Promo Kuwaga. I've seen it go either way on the Piercing. Like, I understand the main problem Tyrant has is that are either controlling board or pushing damage. You can't do both with like a build that focuses more like on Stingmon and Kabuterimon level 4s. So if you index into piercing, like it lets you push damage while you're controlling board. But the problem then is that you are checking security as Tyrant. And if you hit an option, it's so over for you. Like it feels so bad. So a lot of times when you're playing Tyrant, you almost wish you didn't have piercing so you can guarantee control the board and then start checking security once you establish that board control. Kind of like how old Blackboard Greymon would play, where they wouldn't hit you until they completely wiped your board and you had no chance of a comeback. And then they would start checking your security because at that point, if they hit a bomb, it doesn't matter. So that's kind of how Tyrant wants to play without the piercing. But like I said, that almost makes you too slow in some situations. So this is like an okay compromise, I guess. The promo Kuwagamon, I'm so on and off with this card. Honestly, the best part about this card is just the plus 2000 on your turn inheritable. The on-play effect very rarely comes up. Like it comes up, but not too much. As a when digivolving, it never comes up because you're pretty much just always throwing this guy in the back. So yeah, I mean, it's not a necessary card, like, at all. Like, you do not have to play Promo Kuwagumon. So if you don't want to drop $40 or whatever, how much it costs, $30 right now per copy to play Tyrant, you definitely don't have to. I think the old BT3 Stingmon is very good. The Kabuterimon from BT15, just the standard, can't be affected by Digimon effects while it's suspended. Kabuterimon, that one's fine. What else? There's the Dokugomon, which is on play, suspend something, and then your opponent's 5000 DP or less Digimon can't unsuspend until the end of the turn. That's a good solid option too. But yeah, as far as level 4s go, like, this is fine. Sure. Level 5s, it is the 4 Metal Life Kabuterimon. No, sorry. Metal Life Kuwagamon. Yes, this is a Kuwagamon. That standard card does everything you need it to do for the deck. And then you have 2 Rhinos, 2 Mega Kabu Aces. That's pretty standard. And then he is running the 9th level 5, the Digizorb Argomon, which I think is also correct. I'm also playing that in my build. The build that me and my friends workshop also is playing this card. I think it's very good. Especially because in scenarios where you can go into your Tyrant play, swing with your Tyrant, and then use the Argomon Inheritable to play out the Pomumon, and then you really lock them down that way. So it's super good. So I think this card is like a necessary level 5 to play for the deck. Level 6s, 4 Tyrant standard, 3 Grand Kuwaga Ace standard, and 1 Shivamon standard. And then he is playing the 1 Hercules Kabuterimon from BT15. I'm on and off on this card as well. Like, sometimes it's good because you can like suspend something, swing over it, but he's also very small and he has to give himself piercing. When you do suspend something, it's mandatory. So yeah, like I said, sometimes checking 12k piercing into the security, you're just going to kill yourself and then it feels really bad. So, I mean, I get it. He's unaffected by Digimon effects and Shivamon is so mid. Like, I would honestly not play more than 1. So I don't know. Like, if you wanted to just play the 8 level 6s, that's perfectly fine. If you want to play a 9th one, I think Grandis is better. That's just me. I think Grandis is better than Hercules Kabuterimon in like 90% of situations. But I don't know. People disagree with me for some reason, I guess. Or this could just be Death X. I think that's probably just the better card overall. Tamers, 2 Izzy, 2 Digimon Emperor. Like I said, I think 2 Digimon Emperor is mandatory for this deck, at least. You can even play 3, honestly. Like, you really need to see this card in certain matchups, otherwise you're just getting blown out. 2 Izzy, I see a lot of people play 3. I myself have cut down to 2 as well, just because while you do need the redirect for sure, just to be able to like stay defensive and not get blown out, I think the 3rd one gets clunky. So I think 2 is enough. Like, you'll see it. It's fine. And unless you make space for other cards. Then he has 1 Giant Missile. I think this is probably like the best just green option removal. So yeah, if you're going to play 1, you play that. And then 1 Electro Shocker. I forget what this card does. I think it just bot decks a suspended Digimon. Electro Shocker. Return 1 of your opponent's suspended Digimon to its owner's hand. Oh, it's like a bad Megadeth. I mean, I guess. My question is, why isn't this just HPD? Like, there's, oh, it's right here. That's why. Okay, okay. I was like, where's HPD? This guy's deck is so weirdly laid out. Yeah, so HPD's right there. I mean, Electroshocker is fine, I guess, as far as options go. I guess. Agility training, 4 of. This guy said no mem boost. I'm not so sure about that. I do think that maxing out on training is kind of scary. Like I said, against this like Imperial Dramon format. So I would, me personally, I run like 3 mem boost, 2 training. I could see it going either way. Like 4 training is fine. Like it's obviously consistent. So yeah, and you don't bot deck like your Izzy or your HPD either. So that's a big one. Mem boost will bot deck your HPD every time, which is sad. Yeah, as far as Tyrant list, this is pretty good. Like I said, like the biggest difference in Tyrant list is going to be in the level 4s. Everything else is kind of figured out. So we'll move on. Numemon. This is a cool deck. So if you guys don't know, Numemon got a pretty big buff with the Mad Numemon from BT16. It gives you another real level 4 to play, and it has a good enabling effect, which is end of attack, you can delete your Digimon to play out a level 4 lower Digimon from your trash, so it lets you proc your own fortitude in situations where you have to like get removals off, which is really good. We see 2 Mem Blocker Terriermon, 3 Ukos, so 4, 8, 11, 12, 13 rookies, pretty good. Your Leomons, all standard. Bancho Leo, I think, is a really good card in general this format. You see some people trying to take it into Tyrant. I don't necessarily agree with playing this in Tyrant, but I think in theory, this card on its own is very good. So it's whenever a Digimon becomes suspended all turns. So not just on your turn and not just by attacking, just whenever a Digimon becomes suspended, you can choose a Digimon on the board, give it minus 4,000 DP and sec -1. So you guys can kind of see the application of that in this meta where you can like delete little guys from Numemon. You can prevent Magnamon eggs from checking your security. It's just like a really nice defensive card that is annoying for your opponent to play through. Especially in Numemon deck, like itself, where you can Digivolve into this for 3, and then late game you can hard slam it for 6, I think? It reduces its play cost when both player security is low. Bancho Leo. Within this card would be played from the hand if there's 6 or fewer total cards in both player security stacks, reduce the play cost by 5. So yeah, so you can play for 7, which is like still a lot, but it's better than 12. And I mean, if you're at 3 memory, right, standard, you just only pass them 4 to get this effect off. It's pretty good. And also on play, it also suspends a Digimon and when Digivolving, so you can force the minus 4,000 sec -1 on the turn it comes out. Pretty good. 1x antibody, so you can re-trigger your fortitudes. The 1 Kongu, just because, I guess. I mean, I guess there are effects that add to security, or you can stop yellow vaccine with Kongu, actually. So yeah, sure. It might warrant it's one of 2 training, 2 mem boost, 2 heavens, 2 flashy boss punch. I actually like flashy boss punch. I think this is a cool card for this deck. So yeah, I think overall Numemon, for sure it has a good Numemon matchup. For sure the good Numemon matchup carries this deck a lot. My problem with Numemon is that you just lose to anything that can kill you without deleting you. So Mirage, Tyrant. Especially Tyrant, that's immune to Digimon effects, which is kind of like your main way of doing things. Like, I guess you have Boss Punch and Heaven's Judgment to, like, punch over them. But, I don't know. It's still risky, I think. Heavy Leomon's just a house of a card, though. I think this card 100% carries this deck. Like, so many matchups. Card is so good, especially when you don't see it coming. And, alright, we'll move on to Virus Imperial sneaking into top 32, 32nd place. If you guys watched the tier list video, I remember I said that someone could definitely cook with this deck. Yeah, someone's cooking. I think this is a very, very interesting deck for me. Especially like what does the Poromon egg do? That's Poromon. When attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has 2 or more colors, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2,000 DP or less. I guess you're popping floodgates with this. I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess you pop floodgates. And as far as red eggs go, it's probably one of the better ones if you're not running like a draw egg. It's fine, I guess. Otherwise, yeah, 4 promo Shadramons, the 4 and 4 of the EX3 guys. Whenever this deck came out, I think it was EX3. Yeah, EX3. Word. 1 Sethmon, 4 of the new Dino B. This card's insane. 2 and 2 of the old DNAs. Or you don't even DNA into these guys, do you? Maybe you do. Man, I have no idea what this deck does. I'm gonna be real. Paildramon. Okay, you do. Yeah, you DNA into the Paildramon and the Dino B, and then you also DNA into the Virus Imperial. And then you have 2 Valk Aces because it's a red card, and all your cards are red. 4 of the new Davis Ken, 4 analogs, calling, 2 Valk Aces. This is a cool deck. I think especially because people like straight up just don't know what this deck does. And it got like significant boosts in this set too. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool enough for me to try to play it. I think this deck is playable on DCGO. Or at least more playable than Blue-Green Imperial. So yeah, maybe we'll give it a shot right after this. So I did some pie charts here just for you guys to kind of get a visual on the meta. So this is the top 16 pie chart. As you can see, it's over 50% Numemon, 56% to be exact. This is by far the best deck in the meta, which I am slightly surprised by. I'm surprised we don't see more vaccine armors, honestly, in like top cut breakdowns. I want to say it's just a wallet diff. I don't know if people are just not dropping the money to build the deck like at a high enough level to convert it into tops. Because Numemon is like cheap to build, right, guys? Like a playset of Bears, a playset of RB1 Monze costs the same as 1 Magna X, right? Because Monzes are what, 15 bucks? Magna's still 60. So right there on its own, I think for a highly competitive deck, I think you're going to see most people just gravitate towards Numemon. Just based on that fact alone. So yeah, so we see Numemon, just the best, most popular tier 1 deck. Right behind that, we have the Vaccine Armors and Imperial Dramon tied for the next highest representation, 2 apiece. I do think Imperial Dramon is probably like the 3rd best deck of the format. I do agree with Bryce on that. We'll be seeing more of it. Ruin mode? That's true. I guess if you don't have Ruin mode by now, then it's just, you're bad. So, I don't know. Yeah. V Armors, Machine Dramon, Mirage, all equal representation, 1 apiece. I'm surprised V Armor isn't having more representation, but I guess it could be like the same thing, like I said, just no Magna X players. No one wants to drop the money on Magna X, I guess. Here's the top 32 breakdown. We got a couple more decks. So Numemon goes down to 40% at the top 32. Still by far the biggest chunk. And then we see Imperial and V Armor here, and then Vax Armor. So again, it's Numemon number 1, Vax Armor number 2, V Armor and Imperial tied for number 3. That sounds about right. And then we have all the little other random decks that got 1 top. Machine Dramon, Mirage, Tyrant, Leomon, Virus, Imperial. Pretty standard. I think this is kind of what the expected meta was. Maybe more vaccines was expected. So that's a little different from what we predicted. But I think Numemon being the best deck in the format is not really that surprising overall. Yeah, top 16. Top 32. I think Bandai's getting the hammer ready for Numemon. I think numbers like this is pretty crazy. We haven't seen this really since what, Beelzemon? Numbers like this? I think Beelzemon numbers are better than this, but yeah. The point still stands. Deck is too popular and too good.